welcome back. It is in-game live game day here on the grid. Good news before we go to our next guest, as Varsho with a 2-run homer for the Blue Jays. It's not Bichette or Vlad Guerrero, but we'll take it because we do have Toronto in all our PP public parlays. So 3-2 Toronto now leading Colorado as they play in the fourth inning. The numbers now, it's crazy. Well, minus 290. It's not as bad as I thought it would be. So Toronto minus 290, Rockies plus 215. And I think the 11.5 runs, you got 5 already in the bottom of the fourth. This thing is not slowing down. I do like the over in that one as well. So, and the Cubbies just tied up the Reds 1-1 as they play bottom of the fifth. And the Yanks still no score with Texas bottom 5, looking for a first run there. So put the baseball aside for a second. We got preseason football on Thursday. Let's welcome in Loud Esmond. HitThePick.com is the website to find all his plays. HitThePick.com. What's going on, Loud? How are you tonight, bud?
I'm good, guys. I went 2-0. I had the over and I had the Chargers in the Hall of Fame game. 2-0 starting on the season. So maybe I should just stop. I'd be 100% on the season. But no, we'll roll on. Thursday
Nobody
night kicks
ever
off
does.
No,
no one ever does. Yeah.
You know, it's always amazing that, you know, whenever if you're in a sports book on a Saturday or Sunday afternoon around 4 or 5 o'clock or right in between there's two groups of the people. There are the people that are cashing their tickets who swore that if they won, they wouldn't roll it into the night, and they're cashing their ticket and rolling it into the next bet, and everybody else running to the ATM. All right, so Thursday night kicks off preseason in earnest. I got a couple of parlay bets I like for Thursday night and this weekend. Got some Friday night action, but let me nerd out for a minute on some numbers. So in the last 4 NFL seasons, the average number of points scored in a regular season NFL game has landed between 44 and 46 points. The average over-under number was 42.3. By the way, trivia question answer. What was the lowest ever NFL regular season game over-under number? Anybody?
I'd say about 20. I'd say about 27.
I'd say
32 points.
32 and a half.
32 points.
Ever?
And that was, ever. Falcons Saints, September 1979. I remember this game because I was 6 years old and I was already drinking whiskey, smoking cigars, and betting on sports. Irish family, so you know how it is. Anyway, the point is preseason scoring is a lot lower and over-under numbers are a lot lower, set to reflect this. So this weekend, your average over-under number is 33.5 to 35.5. So what that means is points are worth almost twice as much in the preseason when you're looking at point spreads and when you're looking at over-under numbers than they are in the regular season. Point differential per game is usually much closer. NFL regular season, 23% of the games are decided by a margin of 3 points or less. 46% of the games, 7 points or less, and the other 31% over 7. But the higher you go, the lower the percentage. Okay, so how do we use this information? So I'm taking 3 teams that are dogs and getting some points in this weekend in preseason. 49ers +6, Dolphins +3, Buccaneers +3. I'm going to put them in a 3-team teaser, give them each 7 points. Now you get the 49ers +13, Dolphins +10, and Buccaneers +10. And keep in mind, the over-under number in the highest of these games is 35.5. So the chance that they're not going to be within 10 to 13 points is pretty slim. And the odds you get on that parlay is 600 or 6-1. So a $100 bet would return you around $700 on that parlay. Any questions?
I don't think it would be 6-1, would it, in a 3-team tease?
Yeah, that's what I put in earlier today, and that's what I got. So if I'm wrong, I'm wrong. But in any case, there's going to be good odds on that, much better than betting those teams individually. And then let me go on to the other parlay that I've got, which is Colts, Bengals, Raiders. They're all better than 2-1 favorites. I hate laying points in the preseason because the games are, again, usually low scoring and points are at a premium. So at -220 or more, the bet isn't attractive to me on any individual team. So let's look at what happens if we bundle them together. Take the Colts and the Bengals 2-team parlay and that would give you even odds, about 100 to 100 or minus 110. If you bet $100, minus one, get back 190 if you took the Colts and the Bengals. And then if you add the Raiders to that, and these are all the Thursday night games, Colts and Raiders Thursday night, that takes the odds, if you take all those teams, up to almost plus 200. So you could bet $100 and win 300 if you went with a parlay of Colts, Bengals, and Raiders on Thursday night on the money line. Because, again, I don't like laying points preseason if I can avoid it. Because, again, the point differentials are so much closer.
Right, but you're not winning, Loud, $300. You're winning $200, and they're giving you your $100 bet back.
Right.
Yeah.
Sorry.
It's 1 + 188.
Not always great at math, but I know what I'm saying in terms of
Cosmetically.
Right.
Cosmetically, listen, I know what you mean. I think teasers come into play. Not every book accepts preseason teasers. But if they do, I think there are situational spots. But there are blowouts in the preseason. Hell, we saw in a Hall of Fame game. It was just an absolute blowout. And it's, situational spots this weekend, right? The Seattle Seahawks have announced that they're not playing any of their starters against the Raiders. And then you compound the fact, Wetzel, you've got Pete Carroll, and it's a preseason game.
He's 28-20 in the preseason, and he hates losing, and it's an old team.
Yeah, and Pete Carroll gets fired up every day just getting out of bed, let alone to a team that fired him, kind of unceremoniously too. Like he didn't see it coming. It wasn't like it was some gracious end there in Seattle. And I think it's going to compound into the season for Seattle, actually, how McDonald handles this preseason. And the Ravens are normally the preseason darlings of the National Football League, right? They're literally the 23, 24 games in a row. But that bubble has burst a little bit. And, you have the Colts. Colts are big favorites because, forget the stats. It matters who the players are that are playing. The reason the Colts are these big favorites are Anthony Richardson and Daniel Jones are both going to play. They have a legitimate quarterback battle going on there.
Harbaugh is 0-7 against the spread in his last 7 preseason games, and I think they've lost 5 straight. So somehow after 2023, he completely stopped trying to win preseason games.
Yeah, they bumped the lines up too on some of those. I didn't realize he'd lost all those, but I know, normally a preseason game is 3-4 points, and then everyone started talking about Harbaugh being this, ATS machine in the preseason. Now all of a sudden, all his lines were like 6 and 7, and I remember there were a couple of games where I bet him, and he would go for 2, and they would lose rather than kick the extra point and get the push. So. You're right about that. Those numbers, Gabe, have come down a little bit in Loud. They definitely have. So I like the Raiders thinking. I will say that, with Pete Carroll, because maybe, just maybe, instead of calling off the Dogs in the fourth quarter, this guy decides he wants to tack on a few more points. So I don't mind laying the 4.5, albeit on the road with him. I like that one.
By the way, my thinking on the Bengals, Zach Taylor is 3-12 in the preseason with the Bengals, and they have started slow every year because he doesn't play anybody. I think he's going to reverse his thinking and try to win preseason games and play more starters and more people on the bubble.
Yeah. Not bad. It's interesting. Going against the world champs. We'll see what they call off the Dogs and really take it real easy like you think they would.
I wouldn't be playing Burrow. But they actually talked about it. But they, as Loud said, it's actually on the table that Burrow will play against Philadelphia a little bit.
Wow. Loud, great job. HitThePick.com is the website. Check out his plays. HitThePick.com.